Hi and welcome to this video where I share my first impression of coloring my first Kerby Rosanes page. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Ina. If not, welcome back. Since the end of last year, I've had 5 Kerby books, but hadn't colored a single page until now. During the Tubeaton on 1st February, I colored a page in Dark Fairytales. Specifically the Rapunzel Tower, for the hashtag Color the Fairy Tales by Jordi Colors, even though I was a bit late with it. What I didn't film was the beginning of the page. I based the tower with a light pink using watercolor pencils. Then I started shading the individual stones of the tower with the soft touch pencils from Castle Arts. At first, while coloring, it felt a bit like I wasn't applying any color to the paper. Due to the dark shading by Kerby Rosanes, the gray tones weren't very visible. But when you look at the page from a distance, you can clearly see the difference between the areas I've colored and those I haven't. The shading provided by Kerby definitely made things easier, as I didn't have to think about where the shadows and highlights should go. This almost turned it into a mindless coloring experience. While coloring, I used the color palette from Joanna Stone that she created for the hashtag. But I didn't just use the colors from the palette, I also incorporated the contrasting colors that came with it. After I finished the tower, I colored all the vines and then continued with the wood and everything that's brown. I always based the larger areas with watercolor pencils from Castle Arts and colored the smaller areas directly with colored pencils. Unless I already had the watercolor pencil in my hand, like with the brown tones. Then I based the smaller areas with it as well. At first glance, the pages by Kerby Rosanes seems very detailed, intricate and overwhelming. But if you approach them piece by piece, it's actually very relaxing. Of course, the older books with all the doodles are very detailed, but the newer ones are a bit less so. That always depends on the motive, of course. In any case, it was extremely fun to color this page, and I really like the style in which she draws his illustrations. After the brown tones, I colored some pink light reflections from the sky which I finish at the end onto the white trunks of the birch trees. Was that necessary? I don't know, but I did it. Then I colored the birch trunks. After that, I first based the fir trees with a dark green tone, and then the birch trees with a lighter green tone. Then, little by little, I colored all the trees. In the lower area, I wasn't quite sure how to color it, because there's a relatively large open space between the tree trunks. But since there can't be sky under the trees, I colored that area green as well. Additionally, I colored the print's trousers in the darker, slightly bluish green tone. I couldn't remember if the birds were any specific species, and I didn't reread the fairy tale, so I simply colored them white and gray. After that, I continued with the sorceress outfit and used the same colors again on the roof. But before that, I applied a layer of terracotta using watercolor pencils to give the roof a slightly brownish undertone. I received this book as a gift from a viewer because she got the French version, which works better with her pencils. I must say, especially with watercolor pencils as a base, I really like the paper of this English version when I'm using my Castle Art soft touch pencils. I would even say it's one of the best papers when it comes to my coloring books. And that's another reason why it was extremely fun to color this page. Another reason is the motif, which I really like, just like all the motifs in the Kerby books I own. Next, I colored Rapunzel's dress and the blossoms, then the skin of the three characters, and once again I based the hair with watercolor pencils, before going over it with colored pencils. After that, I colored the prince's cape, used soft pastels for the background, and finally added some highlights with a white gel pen. So, what's my conclusion about my first Kerby page? It was incredibly fun, and it didn't take as long as I had feared, considering the size of the book. This is partly because time just flew by while coloring, although it wasn't particularly fast either, which isn't a bad thing at all. I regret not having picked up a Kerby Rosanes book much earlier, and I will definitely be coloring many more pages from him in the future. And before I keep repeating how incredibly fun it was to color this page, you can now enjoy the rest of the video with some music. Bye and see you next time!